Okay, so here we are. Hello, hello, hello. My name's Edward. If you've never seen me before, if you're watching this video after I was live, thank you very much for watching this video. The purpose of this video is learning Spanish. I'm going to be doing live lessons, right, for Spanish. I'm going to start with a beginner's level, Spanish for beginners. We're going to start there. So if you have a higher level, don't worry, we'll get there. I'm going to start building up and we'll get there eventually. We'll get to a higher level eventually, but we're going to start at a beginner's level. That way, we don't leave anyone behind. We can start from beginner's level and go up and up and up and up, and we can all build up together, right? That's the point. That's the idea. We learn together. Okay, so what is the topic of today? Well, we're going to have a different topic every lesson, and today's topic is as it's probably logical to do, how to introduce yourself. If you clicked on the video and you saw the thumbnail and the title of the video is how to introduce yourself in Spanish. So if you've never learned Spanish before, today we're going to learn how to introduce yourself. If you have, you might freshen up some things you've might have forgotten. And otherwise, if this is a bit too easy for you, but you still want to practice Spanish, you need some help with your Spanish, leave me a question in the comments down below for anything you're studying, even if it's not part of the topic that I'm covering today, and I'll be happy to answer with a comment, or maybe even if it's a big enough question, I can make a video about it later on, bring it up on the next lesson. All right, there we go. So what do we have? Well, I'm going to be mostly talking. It's going to be divided like this. There's going to be first a sentences part, and then there's going to be questions. So we're going to learn 5 sentences, 5 phrases, so to speak, and then we're going to be learning 5 questions also under the same subject, under the same topic. All right, cool. Then we have my trusty little helper over here, my little whiteboard, where I'm going to be doing a summary after I finish all the sentences. So don't worry if you don't understand every word I say. You're going to have 2 ways in which you can see them written, in which you can check and make sure how they spell. Okay? One is going to be there's going to be a summary on this little whiteboard at the end of the section, at the end of the topic. I'm going to write it all down here. You'll see it on screen. And if you would like to take notes down on your notebook or whatever, it's also going to be in the description of the video and below. All right, there we go. So let's begin. Enough talking. I talk too much. So enough talking. Let's get started. First lesson: sentences. The first sentence, and this is how I'm going to work. I'm going to say the sentence. I'm not going to tell you yet what it means. Then I'll give you an example. I'm still not telling you what it means. And then after I've given you the example and the sentence, then I'll tell you what it means. Just in case that someone's trying to see if they remember them or if they can understand them, figure them out without me telling them before I tell them. All right, so here we go. So, first sentence. Hola, mi nombre es, and we leave a blank space, right? So I'm going to be noting where we leave the blank space for you to add in your own information, right? Your own self-introduction. So one more time, the first sentence is, Hola, mi nombre es, mhm, leave some space there, okay? So again, I'm not telling you yet what it means. If you know what it means, if you recognize some words, it's brilliant, it's really good. If you don't worry, don't panic. Don't click off yet. Let's keep going. I'm going to give you an example, and then I'll tell you what it all means. Hola, mi nombre es Eduardo. One more time. Nombre es Eduardo. All right, there we go. So that's the sentence, that's the example. What does it mean? Do you know? Not know? Any ideas? I'm saying my name. Probably logical to start from saying your name, introducing yourself. Hola, mi nombre es Eduardo. Hello, my name is Edward. Right? So you're going to be changing it at the end. You're going to be adding at the end your name, whatever is your name, whatever is your name. And one thing that I do feel the need to say is you will notice that I'm changing my name. I'm translating my name, right? I'm saying Edward when I speak in English. I'm saying Eduardo when I speak in Spanish. That's a personal thing. You do not have to translate your name. You don't need to translate your name. No one in the Spanish speaking world expects you to translate your name. And if you just introduce yourself the way you introduce yourself, everybody, as I feel like it's just common courtesy, to just respect what your name is, right? In your preferred choice of pronunciation. If your name's David, you don't need to translate it to David. There is a name, David, but you don't have to. That's what I'm saying. Okay, that's just a personal choice. I like to do it. I like to do it because I live in England, and it is just a very long story, but it's a very personal thing. You absolutely do not have to translate your name, okay? Don't take these as me saying you have to. All right, well, that was a long rant. So, hola, mi nombre es, and then you put your name there. That's simple, right? So if your name is David, hola, mi nombre es David. Hola, mi nombre es, whatever is your name. I keep saying David because I have a very good friend whose name is David. Not even David, David. I keep thinking of him. Okay, so number two, sentence number two. Yo soy de, and we leave the blank. Yo soy de, and we leave the blank there. Okay, so again, my example, personal example would be Yo soy de Costa Rica. One more time. Yo soy de Costa Rica. Okay, so that's where I'm from. Yo soy de Costa Rica. That's what it means. I'm from where? Yo soy de Costa Rica. So then find out how to say the name of your country in Spanish. Some of them are very easy. Some of them are like very easy to guess. Others are a little bit different. So let's say, I mean, Costa Rica, Costa Rica, Costa Rica. Same thing, really. It just doesn't have another name. It's the same thing. Just slight change of pronunciation, but it's the same thing. Um, I don't know. Let's say Canada. Let's say you're from Canada. Yo soy de Canadá. Canada, Canada. Just a slight difference in the pronunciation, but it's the same thing, really, in terms of having to learn a new thing. Now, if you're from the States, that complicates things a little bit, then you are going to have to learn a little bit of a longer thing, because that one is fully translated. So that would be Yo soy de los Estados Unidos. Estados, States, Unidos, United. So United States, just backwards. Estados Unidos. So that one's a little bit long. So if you're from the States, a little bit harder for you there. But we're trying to learn a language. We're all here for that. We're all here for learning. So you can do it. Yo soy de Costa Rica. Where are you from? Okay, there we go. Why do I keep saying okay at the end of everything? I think I'm just nervous. It's my first live streamed lesson of Spanish that I do in a while. I've been doing a couple of teaching English ones on my other channel for teaching English, but I'm a little nervous. So bear with me. Bear with me. Hopefully, with practice, I'll get better and things will be a little bit less awkward and I'll be less nervous and things will be more productive for you, which is the point. Helping you learn Spanish. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay, sentence number three is Yo tengo, blank space, años. So one more time. Yo, hello. Yeah, I'm live streaming. Bye. Let's continue. That's my girlfriend. Probably. She probably messaged me and I didn't reply for a while. So she came to check on me. Okay. Now she knows I'm alive and well. We continue. So, sorry, let's get back to it. So, sentence number three. Yo tengo, blank space, años. Yo tengo, space, años. Now the example. Yo tengo 30 años. Yo tengo 30 años. So, you probably guessed this one because there's a number in there. 30. 30. 30. 30. So, basically, obviously, if we translate the sentence, I'm saying I'm 30 years old, but, and this is a good opportunity for learning, and this is one thing I love about languages, is that it's never, apples to apples, really, with languages. I mean, sometimes it can be, but not always. So in this particular case, yes, this means I am 30 years old, but that is not the words that we're using. In Spanish, we don't say I am whatever amount of years. Rather, we say I have X amount of years. Okay? So, yo tengo, tengo is the verb to have. Tengo, I have. Okay? Probably sounds a bit strange if you think about it from an English, from the English language perspective, but that's the beauty of languages. They're all different. They all have the beautiful differences. So, yo tengo 30 años. I am 30 years old or I have 30 years old. right? No, there is no old in there. Sorry. Años just means years. So I have 30 years. That's really what we're saying. That's how it would be translated if we were to go word by word. So there you go. Easy. Find out how to say the number of your age: 25, 35, 15, 60, whatever is your age. Put it in there. Find out how to say it, and then put it in there, and then you can use the sentence. Okay. Yo tengo 30 años, 20 años, 15 años, whatever's the number. All right. So, let me think. Is it that there was something else I wanted to say about this sentence? Give me a second. Let me just. mm, yes, yes. This is quite important. In Spanish, you don't always have to say yo. Yo means I, right? I am, I have, blah blah blah. Whenever you hear me say yo tengo 30 años, yo soy de Costa Rica, like sentences number 2 and number 3, I believe it's better if you're a beginner to start from putting it there, putting the yo in the sentence, so that you're clear with the structure of the sentence and it's easier to remember it. I think it's easier to understand it. However, if you want to keep getting a bit more advanced, if you want to start learning already a little bit more advanced things, well, in Spanish, because of the way that the verbs are conjugated for each individual person, and if this is sounding a bit too complicated, too grammarly to you, don't worry. We'll get into it later. But for now, just know that we essentially don't always have to say yo at the beginning of the sentence. Okay? So you can say yo soy de Costa Rica, or you can just say soy de Costa Rica. Both sentences are perfectly fine, perfectly understandable, and there is no confusion as to who you're talking about. That's just how Spanish works. Same with yo tengo 30 años. You don't have to say yo tengo 30 años. You could just start from tengo 30 años. No worries, no problems whatsoever. Right? No problem with that. So yeah, so that's something you should know. You should keep in mind. Okay, you don't always have to say yo when you start a sentence. Okay? But if it makes things easier for you at the beginning, use it at the beginning. Do it at the beginning, and then later on, you can get used to not using it as much. Alrighty, let's continue. Sentence number 4. So the structure is me gusta, and there we leave the space. There we leave what do you want to put in there? Me gusta. Let's say I'm going to give you the example now. Me gusta cocinar. Me gusta cocinar. So what does it mean? Any ideas? Me gusta cocinar. Me gusta is to like. I like. Me gusta. I like. Cocinar, to cook. I like to cook. Me gusta cocinar. I like to cook. Right? You can change it obviously for anything else. So find out what is the verb for the thing you like to do, your hobbies, right? It could be, I don't know, riding a bike. It could be sailing, drawing, painting, singing, playing the guitar. Anything really, whatever you want it to be. To find out what that is in Spanish, you just go on Google, go on the translator, find out how to say the verb of the thing you like to do, and there you have it. Me gusta, and you put it at the end. Me gusta, I'll give you a few examples. Me gusta cocinar. I like to cook. Me gusta cantar. I like to sing. Me gusta bailar. I like to dance. Easy enough, right? So you just need to find the verb, put it at the end of me gusta, and there you go. Now you're talking about what you like to do. So that's sentence number 4. Sentence number 5. Estoy aprendiendo español porque quiero, and there we are. So this one, don't worry. I know it's a little longer than the other ones, a little bit more complicated than the ones we've done before, but don't despair. It's fine. It's okay. It's not that difficult. So, estoy aprendiendo español porque quiero. Okay, so this was a bit of a challenge. I could have made it easier. I could have made it simpler. But then it wouldn't be as rich in what we are conveying the information we're trying to say. So I feel like this one we can challenge ourselves a little bit, right? It's not to be scared. If it's difficult, if you're struggling, don't worry. Take your time, step by step. But let's give it a go. I'm going to give you the example now. So in my case, I would say estoy aprendiendo español porque quiero hacer amigos. So a little bit of a mouthful, this one. Let's go. And this one, we're going to try to break it up into smaller parts, smaller chunks. Estoy aprendiendo. That means I'm learning. Estoy is the verb to be. I am. Estoy aprendiendo. I'm learning. Estoy aprendiendo. And now we say, well, what are we learning? Español, Spanish, right? So, estoy aprendiendo español. I'm learning Spanish. ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué? Porque means because. And a beautiful thing about Spanish, because and why are almost the same. Why is porque, because it's porque. Almost the same. The only difference is that they're spelled separate and the pronunciation slightly different. But it's a good word to know. Porque, that means because. So let's take it back to the beginning. Estoy aprendiendo, I'm learning español, I'm learning Spanish. Porque, because, quiero, I want. Estoy aprendiendo español porque quiero. I'm learning Spanish because I want. And then you put whatever you want, whatever is your reason for learning Spanish. So, estoy aprendiendo español porque quiero. And now the example I gave just a moment ago, hacer amigos, make friends. Hacer amigos. Okay? I keep looking that way because I have a timer over there because I don't want to make this lesson too long, longer than it needs to be. So I'm keeping an eye on a timer over there to make sure that I keep it short, concise, and useful. So there you go. So that's the long version. That's the challenging version. Now, okay, I don't want to leave you with nothing. If you're struggling with it too much, if you really can't remember it, I don't want to leave you with, well, too bad. I'm going to give you another option. I'm going to give you an easier option. Okay. But I would like you to try to use this one, challenge yourself, and try to learn it. But if you really can't, if it's a bit too much, if it's too difficult, then we can make it easier and we can say, Estoy aprendiendo español. I'm learning Spanish. Estoy aprendiendo español para, and then you say what for. Okay? Para, we can say, para hacer amigos. Para viajar, to travel. Para, I don't know, I'm out of examples. I'm out of reasons to learn Spanish, but I'm sure you have lots of reasons why you're learning Spanish. So just put it in there. Just find out how to say the reasons that you personally have for learning Spanish, and we can put it in there. If you're struggling to figure it out, you can leave me a comment and you can ask me, and I'll tell you how to say it. Okay? So, estoy aprendiendo español. We have two options. Estoy aprendiendo español porque quiero, blah, 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 blah. Or estoy aprendiendo español para, and you fill up the rest. Okay? Ooh. Well, that's it. That's it with the sentences. Now we have the questions coming up, so don't leave me just yet, because you would want to learn the questions, right? If you're gonna try to have a conversation in Spanish when you want to practice and use your Spanish out in the wild, well, you're gonna want to be able to ask questions as well, right? You can't just be out there saying things without being able to ask some questions. It wouldn't be a conversation otherwise. So let's do the summary of the sentences and then I'll give you the questions. So sentence number one, hola. Right, this one's very popular. I feel like even people who are not learning Spanish know hola. Hola. Mi nombre es, whatever is your name. Hola, mi nombre es. Very nice. Number two, yo soy de, and wherever you're from. Yo soy de. Number three, yo tengo, however many, años. I am whatever years old, right? Number 4, me gusta. Number 4 is when we want to talk about our hobbies, things we like to do. Me gusta cocinar, me gusta bailar, me gusta cantar, yo qué sé. Number 5. Number 5 is the one that gave us a bit of a challenge. So we said we're either saying estoy aprendiendo. This is getting tough because my little whiteboard is a bit too little. But I actually wanted it to be small like this. Estoy aprendiendo español. Hold on, I'm trying to figure out how to write the two options. Estoy aprendiendo español porque quiero o para. Okay, brilliant. Beautiful. Okay, now let me just fill in the examples with a red marker and we'll be all good. Hola, mi nombre es Eduardo. Yo soy de Costa Rica. Yo tengo 30 años. Me gusta cocinar. Estoy aprendiendo español porque quiero o para. And I'm going to say viajar. Nice. Beautiful. Let's cover this. And let me see. Can you see that? Yeah, you can. So, what do we have? Hola, mi nombre es Eduardo. Yo soy de Costa Rica. Yo tengo 30 años. Me gusta cocinar. Estoy aprendiendo español porque quiero viajar. O estoy aprendiendo español para viajar. Both are correct. All right. Just this one's a little longer because it adds an extra verb. This one's a little shorter. There we go. That is the sentences. Now, let's do the questions real quick. I'm running out of the allocated time that I wanted to use. Don't worry if you didn't have time to write them down or if you can't read my beautiful, beautiful handwriting. I know my handwriting is not exactly gorgeous. It's not exactly an artistic level of handwriting, but if you can't understand it or you didn't have time to write it down, in the description of this video, you will find all the notes of everything I'm teaching you now, so don't worry about it. Also down there, you're going to be able to find my website, if I remember to put it, hopefully I will. My website, in case you want to study with me, you want to have private online lessons with me for Spanish or even for Chinese. I teach Chinese as well. So yeah, check it out. I'm going to leave my website down in the description so you can check out my schedule and see if you can find some available time that works for you. And I can help you with your Spanish and I can teach you some Spanish. Okay. Now the questions. Well, the questions are going to be like this. The questions are, number 1, ¿cuál es tu nombre? ¿Cuál es tu nombre? What's your name? Right, so of course the questions are going to be directly related to the topic of today. So the questions are going to be directly about self-introductions. So now we're going to be asking personal questions, personal information. So number 1 is, ¿cuál es tu nombre? What's your name? Number 2, ¿de dónde eres? ¿De dónde eres? Where are you from? Number 3, ¿cuántos años tienes? ¿Cuántos años tienes? How old are you? Right? But remember that we're using the verb tener, to have. So just keep that in mind, that it's a little bit different. ¿Cuántos años tienes? But the meaning is exactly the same. The use is exactly the same. How old are you? ¿Cuántos años tienes? Okay. Number four is, ¿qué te gusta hacer? ¿Qué te gusta hacer? What do you like to do? ¿Qué te gusta hacer? What do you like to do? And number 5, ¿por qué estás aprendiendo español? So these, remember, I told you that why and because are basically the same thing in Spanish. ¿Por qué is why. ¿Por qué is because. Well, there you have it. Now we have it as a question. ¿Por qué estás aprendiendo español? Why are you learning Spanish? Right? So there we have it. 5 questions. Now write it down. These ones, I don't need to give you specific examples because, well, the answers to these questions would be pretty much the sentences we learned earlier. So that's why we ran through them relatively quickly, but I'll write them down so you can see them. No, sorry, I started writing in the wrong order. That's need to. Number one is ¿Cuál es tu nombre? ¿Cuál es tu nombre? Right, very useful. Very useful, especially I think it's good to learn questions when you're learning a subject. When you're learning Spanish, you learn some sentences, but you should also learn some questions because it happens more often than not that you know how to say a few things. You want to practice when you meet someone that you know also speaks Spanish, but then you're stuck there like, what do I say? Right? Well, then if you have some questions up your sleeve, you're ready to go. You're ready to ask some questions. Just make sure you can understand the answers. Otherwise, you'll just be nodding there like, see. Which happens. It happens. I'm not gonna say that hasn't happened to me. I mean, not in Spanish because that's my native language, but that happens to me. It happened to me when I was learning English. I would learn questions and then I would ask the questions, and the answers would be beyond the level of what I could understand. And then I'd be like, uh-huh, yeah, okay, thank you. So it can happen, but look, better practice. Like, we're not gonna get better if we don't get going. Okay, question number two. ¿De dónde eres? As you may have noticed, I like to talk a lot. That's why I have my notes over here of what I was going to teach today. Because even though it's already up in here and I already knew what I wanted to teach, if I don't write down a guide and I don't have a timer over there, I am 100% going to go over time by just talking and talking and talking and talking about unrelated things that only in my head are related, but they're not really related. And then I would be here until 3 in the morning, and you'd be like, well, this is boring, and I'm not learning what I needed to learn. So that's why I'm making sure that I keep this concise, to the point, and we're learning what we came here to learn. Number four, and finally, number five, porque. And now you're going to be able to see, when you see it written here, that it is a little bit different in the sense that porque, as in because, is spelled as one word, porque, and porque is spelled as two words, right? Porque estás aprendiendo, aprendiendo español. Español. It's a bit hard to write in the air. I can put it on my desk because I have my keyboard there and all that. Okay, you see what I said? See what I told you? Talking about unrelated things. Okay, there you go. There we have it. So, ¿cuál es tu nombre? What's your name? ¿De dónde eres? Where are you from? ¿Cuántos años tienes? How old are you? ¿Qué te gusta hacer? What do you like to do? ¿Por qué estás aprendiendo español? Why are you learning Spanish? And there you have it. That's it. 5 questions. 5 sentences, 5 questions. Lesson number one. If you have any other questions about these or about a different subject, leave them as a comment down below. Give you a little homework so you get to practice. Go in the comment section and leave your answers to these questions in Spanish. Practice. Try to leave your answers. Try to write them in Spanish, right? See if you can do it. If I spot any mistakes, anything you need to change or improve, I'll let you know. If you have any other questions, I'll answer your questions. And what else did I want to say? I think that's it. Subscribe to my channel so that I can continue to help you learn Spanish. I will be hopefully making another video very soon, or with lesson number two, where we're going to be learning. What are we going to be learning on lesson number two? We're going to be talking about food. How to talk about food in Spanish. Love food. I think anyone that learns Spanish probably has a good relationship with food, either from Spain or from Mexico, from South America. I mean, just food's food's a beautiful cultural subject. So that's going to be next lesson subject. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Nos vemos. Ciao.